This is the bane of many guitarists' existence. I can play the same note here, 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 and here. And that happens with almost every note all across the fretboard. The fact that you can find the same note in multiple locations can make memorizing the fretboard really confusing, and it can make it difficult when you're trying to learn a piece to decipher where the composer is telling you to play that note or that chord when there are often multiple possibilities. This used to kill me, and I know I'm not alone in that, so let me know in a comment whether or not you've ever been confused by how the fretboard is laid out. But what if I told you that the very same phenomenon that causes all this confusion is one of the most unique and powerful creative tools that the guitar offers us? A perfect example of this is the intro to my Howl's Moving Castle arrangement. The theme starts out with this really pretty little piano motif in thirds. Now my instinct at first was to play it just like that, descending down the second and third strings in those thirds. These are really standard voicings for thirds on the guitar. And so because of that, it fit the guitar just fine. But it sounded lifeless to me, and it didn't have the same sound and character that the original theme had on the piano. The piano sounded much fuller, and the notes rang out together and blended together more nicely. So being fully aware that you can play the same notes in multiple locations across the guitar, I decided to try to get a little creative and experiment with playing those exact same notes in different positions to see if that would open up some cool opportunities for me to really transform the way that this sounded on the guitar. And so after playing around with it for a little bit, this is what I came up with. The difference there, to me, is staggering. Let's go and listen again to both options back to back. You're hearing the exact same notes here. There's no trickery or guitar wizardry at play here. We've got a C and an E, a D and an F, right? Alternatively, a C and an E, a D and an F, and so on. But by finding different locations to play the same notes, I created this less traditional fingering for this passage that totally transformed the way that it sounded on guitar and allowed me to let those notes ring out together more like that original piano version. I want this to give you some inspiration to consider and explore different fingering options in your arrangements, and to not think of the complex layout of the fretboard as something that's overwhelming or as a negative thing, but rather as an advantage that our instrument offers us. Something that's exciting to explore with the potential to unlock these creative solutions to the different musical problems that we run into. Even if you're not making your own guitar arrangements, this applies to learning a piece of guitar music. As performers, one of the ways that we can be creative in our own interpretation so that it doesn't sound exactly the same as how everybody else performs that piece is to choose how and where we play the notes in the music. One of my favorite pieces in the classical guitar repertoire is A Day in November by Leo Brouwer. The main theme from that piece ends with this little phrase here. We hear that same phrase multiple times throughout the piece. So what if we got a little creative, and on the last time we play that phrase, to add some variety, we take those same notes and play them in a different position further up the neck. It's not as drastic a difference as the Howl's Moving Castle example, but generally moving up the neck like this gives us a darker tone and allows for deeper vibrato that gives us that more somber and meditative sound for this last repetition to close out the piece. A change like this could be as little or as simple as the difference between an open string versus a fretted note. Like at the end here, or, right? Same notes, but fretted notes aren't as bright as open strings, and they open up the opportunity for expressive techniques like vibrato and slides. Changing the overall sound of the music isn't the only benefit of exploring different places to play the same notes. It can also impact the playability of your arrangement or the piece that you're learning. Playing the exact same passage in a different position may suddenly make that passage feel way easier to you. Like if we look at these couple measures from the Cathedral, instead of playing this whole section with slurs, I can change where I find those notes and play them on different strings like this. Right? That requires way less movement in the left hand. And so some guitarists might find that easier and prefer that option. Now, of course, it does also sound pretty different. The difference between slurs versus more arpeggiated like that. But the point here is that now we have options and we can choose which option is best for us. Now, a great way to start getting comfortable with exploring the fretboard and taking advantage of all of this is to take my free training, Fretboard Freedom, where I teach you how to find and play chords anywhere across the fretboard. And with the training, I include a downloadable fretboard chart so you can physically see all the notes of the fretboard laid out in front of you and visualize all the different locations that you can play the same notes across the fretboard. So again, it's completely free. You can go to beyondtheguitar.com or just follow the link down below in the description to check it out. I hope this was helpful and inspires you to get creative with where you play things across the fretboard. Let me know in a comment if you plan on taking advantage of this and getting more intentional about exploring the possibilities of the fretboard. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button to let me know, and to help more people see it, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on so you never miss future videos. And here's to making the music you love and making it on your own terms. All right. We'll see you in the next one.